True love is what brings us together today. Hey Sun Svei Sun, I'm Daisy Viktoria, and I have a true love for The Princess Bride. How many of you guys have seen The Princess Bride? It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I love Princess Buttercup's costumes in the movie. They're so like medieval, but taken into a fantasy world, and that's totally my thing. So when my boyfriend decided to put together a Dread Pirate Roberts costume for the Renaissance Festival, which has a Pirates weekend, there was only one thing for me to do, and that was to very quickly create Princess Buttercup's red dress, so I could wear it with him. This dress is so iconic and I love it. Throughout this video, I am gonna try to show you kind of how I went about making it look as reasonably accurate as I possibly could with my materials and time limit. I think it looks pretty darn close. And I feel like Princess Buttercup when I wear it, and that's the most important thing. This dress is so special because I've loved The Princess Bride since I was much younger. After I watched the movie, I got the book and read that, and I was just obsessed. So this is kind of like a childhood dream sort of thing. So becoming Princess Buttercup is truly a dream come true. This is true love. And that is in fact as I wish. So let's get to work on making this absolutely lovely costume. I started out by using an existing pattern I had for a 15th century dress. I think that in The Princess Bride, Buttercup's red dress looks very vaguely 15th century inspired. It's by no means an accurate historical dress, but it has all the elements of that classic 15th century style. This is a pattern that I drafted for myself years ago, and it still fits me very well. So it was a perfect starting point. I had to make a lot of changes to the bodice of this dress. First of all, the length of the bodice pieces was totally different. And then Buttercup's dress is pleated in the front, so I had to leave extra space to create those pleats. Buttercup's dress also has a collar, which the dress I'm using did not have, and I just made that attached into the pattern of the bodice. I did a lot of adjustments as we went, so these pattern pieces you see here are by no means the final, so keep that in mind. I did later ask my Instagram followers if you guys would like me to digitize my pattern so that you can download the PDF file of my pattern for this dress, and you guys said yes. So I am delivering on that promise, and I will put a link in the description where you can purchase my PDF pattern of this dress. That is the finalized pattern that happened after all the adjustments you'll see in this video. The sleeves are by far the biggest puzzle piece on this dress, and the shape you see here is by no means the final shape. You'll see how it progresses. I started by sewing the side and shoulder seams of the bodice together, so I had that as basically a bodice I could start fitting. And I started making adjustments and cutting things off until I got it a little bit better. Now, most of the time you want to do a mock-up to do this stuff, but I decided to do it straight into my final fabric for a couple of reasons. Reason number one was a time constraint, and reason number two was that I felt very confident about the pattern I was adapting. So I figured that I would be okay. Like, no matter whether I had to make a few adjustments or not, it would be fine. I'm using a red fabric that is a blend of linen and cotton, which I got at fabric.com. It's a really nice drape. It works really well, and it's breathable, it's comfy. I can definitely recommend it. Princess Buttercup's dress has pleats at the front of the bodice, so I decided to create my two pleats just the way that it worked by fitting the bodice to me. So there are two pleats equally spaced. I did work on the sleeves a little bit in between that giant puzzle piece. We're gonna come back to them yet again. Princess Buttercup's dress has pleats in the skirt that match up to where the pleats are in the bodice. This is the first part of the construction that's really kind of tricky because I wanted to make sure that those pleats really did match up. So I measured on the skirt to make sure they were in the same place as the bodice, and I pleated those together making sure that I didn't let that fabric sort of wiggle its way out as I was sewing them. I made it stay put right where I wanted it. Here I'm cutting a facing for the neckline where it's open like around the back of the dress and up toward the front. In the PDF pattern, I'm advising you to use the actual shape of the front and back pieces so you have the same shoulder seam there. I decided to drape mine separately because these are the lengths that I will go to get out of sewing one little seam. At this point, I needed to pleat the rest of the skirt onto the bodice. So to do that, I just divided up the skirt equally, so it was kind of making equally spaced pleats all the way from where I had the pleats in the front over to the very back of the dress. Are you guys ready? We're gonna try this on. So this is so exciting when it gets to a point where you kind of see the dress coming together. At this point, I'm really feeling like Princess Buttercup, and it's just so exciting. But the dress is still missing sleeves, and we need to address that. Now onto these darn sleeves. I wanted so badly to pattern these sleeves similarly to the way a friend of mine had made her buttercup dress, but it turns out I did not buy as much fabric as she did, and I was unable to use her patterning suggestions at all. Here I am with sleeves that are way too long at the front, so I'm kind of trying to figure out how to deal with that bulk. I ended up looking at photos of Princess Buttercup's dress from the movie and really getting in there and analyzing like the fabric grain and trying to figure out what the cut was of these sleeves. So even though I don't know the exact shape of the original dress sleeves, I tried my best to approximate it. I did end up cutting off a lot of the sleeve there to make it a little bit shorter in the front while still having all that baggy volume at the back. Now the bottom of these sleeves are cartridge pleated, and I'm using a tricky little trick here with plaid ribbon that I also showed you guys in my video on how to cartridge pleat a petticoat or a skirt. This is basically going to help me to make sure I can easily gauge the size of my gathering stitches, which will all be done by hand. Now you don't have to use this ribbon, you can also mark out using any type of ruler. This is just a really easy and kind of lazy way to do it. All right, so my goal today is to actually finish this dress. This will be day 3 of working on it, but because of the way I've sort of transitioned my schedule, I'm no longer sewing all day every day. So I'm kind of reaching a new balance, and you know, this could be a one-day dress, I feel, but 3 days, whatever, it's cool. So I was playing with the dress on the mannequin and realizing it will work, but knowing me, I kind of want to make it a little bit better. So there's 2 things that I'm going to adjust just to tweak it. I'm going to adjust how tall the collar pieces are, and I'm going to bring the back bodice up a little bit higher. And once I do those adjustments, I'll be able to move on to cartridge pleating the sleeves into wristbands or cuffs. and I'll be able to put lacing in the back, add a modesty panel, and hem the skirt, and then I will have my Buttercup dress. So I ended up adjusting the collar yet again and also adjusting the length of the back again. There was a lot of adjustment that went throughout the construction of this dress just to get it as good as it ended up in the end. So to adjust the length of the back, I had to actually cut off the skirt. I know, I just did all that pleating and I had to redo it, but luckily the fabric was already folded, so it was easy to redo it. Next, I am making the little wrist cuffs to go at the bottom of the sleeves. These are just rectangles of fabric, pretty simple shapes here. So that was nice. And I made a little modesty panel to go on the side to cover the opening. Now, please do note, if you're following my PDF pattern, this is not the final size of that modesty panel. We're actually going to change it. The final size is much larger. For the grommets on this dress, I'm using these gold grommets that I already had. Now, if you want to be totally accurate to the Princess Bride dress, I should note that these are covered over in red stitching for that dress. I knew that I was going to be wearing a long wig and it wouldn't really matter too much, and I decided to just leave them gold because I didn't have any red grommets and I didn't want to stitch around them. So here they are. I think it looks really good though. I also made a modesty panel for the back of the dress to go behind those lacing eyelets. And finally, it's time to cartridge pleat those sleeves. Because you know what? I could not get out of this forever. I eventually had to do it. So to cartridge pleat, you can watch that skirt tutorial to get more in-depth instruction. But here I'll show you, I'm kind of running 2 lines of stitching through the edge of the sleeve, and I'm using that plaid ribbon to gauge the size. This takes quite a while. It's quite worth it because those cartridge pleats look real nice. And of course, I have to attach those cartridge pleats onto the wrist cuffs, and they look so lovely. Oops, it looks like that modesty panel was not big enough because there's a great big gap on top of it where the sleeve is open. So I made a longer modesty panel that covers all the way from the bottom of the wrist cuff all the way up to the top of the opening in the sleeve. And I stitched that not only onto the cuffs, but also onto the upper opening in the sleeve so it stays put. Now, a fun fact here, I put this together over the course of like 3 days and got it together in time for Pirate Weekend at the Renaissance Festival. And then my boyfriend realized that while he thought he had a black pirate shirt, he only had a white one. So I actually wore my Buttercup dress to RenFaire while he dressed as a more generic pirate. But we are going back to Renaissance Festival this coming weekend, and we are going to wear them together. So I am going to put some footage of us wearing the costumes together into this video so you can see that too, because oh my goodness, I am so excited to be Buttercup with Westley. This is like dreams come true, like this is costume goals. With the addition of lacing ribbons on the wrist cuffs and the back of the dress, we are actually ready to go in this dress. Princess Buttercup does wear a gold belt, and though I did not make her exact belt. I had one that was pretty close and I thought it worked really well. So this is another medievally gold belt I made at another time, and it is gold silk fabric with some beaded embellished trim on it, and I think it looks close enough to Buttercup's belt. Now, this photo shoot is not the end of our shenanigans because we are going to wear this dress to the Renaissance Festival not 1, but 2 weekends. And I'm going to show you where the music for this video actually came from because we're going to go on an adventure where we actually meet the musician. I had so much fun here pretending I was really frolicking through Gilder and Florin, and perhaps even the fire swamp. I didn't find any rodents of unusual size here at this photo shoot, but I did find a pumpkin and a rose. It was just after Halloween and I think someone had left them there. And what do you do when you find a random pumpkin and a rose? You pose with them, duh. Now, as much fun as this shoot was, I would love to take you guys to the Renaissance Festival. I also met Sarah, who recognized me from my videos, and she was so cool. She's wearing this pirate jacket that she made herself, and it's so lovely.
We're so excited at the RenFaire. So excited.
What's his name?
What made this costume even better was that my boyfriend dressed as the Dread Pirate Roberts, my sweet Westley, and he looks so good. We even visited his ship, Robert's Revenge. Get it? The Dread Pirate Roberts ship in the movie The Princess Bride is called Revenge. Fawn boy, will you fetch me that picture?
As you wish.
Not only did we have so much fun at the Renaissance Festival, but I'm about to show you the person responsible for the beautiful music that you've been hearing. This is the Lady Viktoria. She plays the hammered dulcimer. And as you guys know, anyone named Viktoria must be cool. So already we know she's awesome. Viktoria and I actually found each other on TikTok. Viktoria travels to a lot of Renaissance festivals playing her amazing music. And when she was about to come to the Texas Renaissance Festival, I was like, oh my gosh. And we totally met up with each other and we had such a blast.
Oh, sorry.
I will leave links to the Lady Viktoria below in the description, and if you want to go check her out, you will not be disappointed. Viktoria even let me try out the hammered dulcimer. I'm so happy with this costume. I am Princess Buttercup. Yes! Oh my goodness. I also uploaded all of my progress shots to Patreon showing like kind of how I went through all the sewing steps throughout this. So if you're on there, check it out. I got you covered. If you take some inspiration from this video, please tag me. I'd love to see what you come up with. I am Daisy Viktoria on all the social medias. My website is daisyviktoria.com. And a special thank you to my patrons who help me so much to continue creating content just like this. I hope you all have an absolutely magical day filled with true love and that everything is exactly as you wish. And I will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.